Hello everyone, glad to be back. Today is 3rd of May, now it's 9 o'clock in the morning Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update today, in which I will share all the latest news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. Second update, as always, will be a little bit late on my Patreon page, in which I will share all the additional information that Russian media outlets will report for that time. That's been said, let's talk about news now, and I will start with Ukraine and special military operation. We had a statement from head of PMC Wagner, Yevgeny Prigozhin, who said yesterday afternoon that PMC Wagner units managed to move forward and establish new positions in Bakhmut up to 160 meters. So if that's the case, then this map is not updated yet, but even if it's updated, I highly doubt that they will show us any Russian advances, to be honest, at least for a few more days. But even on this map, we can see that basically nothing really is left under control of Zelensky's regime, only this block of high-rise buildings. And one of you did right comment yesterday that this is kind of citadel, this area, these high-rise buildings, that it won't be easy for PMC Wagner units to establish control over this block. And of course, it's gonna be not easy, no doubt about that. But point is that Zelensky's regime forces that are still loyal to Zelensky did start to blow up high-rise buildings in the western part of this block, which is a definite indicator that they are preparing to withdraw from this area. So that's why I think it will not take for PMC Wagner units too much time to establish full control over this tiny corner on the west side of Bakhmut that's still under the control. And after that, of course, next stage for this grouping of Russian side in and around Bakhmut will be Chisov. And you know my take on this town. I think after Bakhmut will be under full Russian control, and Russian side now controls about 95, 96, maybe 97% of the city. After Bakhmut will be under full Russian control, I believe morale of armed forces of Ukraine will crack significantly, and I don't think Chisov garrison will be able to hold on to its positions for much longer. That's why I said in previous updates that maybe before end of this month Chisov will be under full Russian control. But yet again, let's wait and see. This is important for Russian side, as I understand, to establish control over the Chisov, because next stage definitely will be Seversk, because Russian side will need to establish control over the Seversk to conduct offensive operations in direction of these last defense lines that Zelensky's regime has in eastern Ukraine, really. It's a Kramatorsk-Slaviansk defense line. So Russia will be forced to establish control not just over the Seversk, but also over the Liman and Kupiansk here. So entire this gray area will become under Russian control, so that Russian forces will be safe from the flanks when they will start attacking Kramatorsk-Slaviansk defense line. When it comes to overall situation on the front line, it's usual stuff. Zelensky's regime is trying to conduct some drone strikes in direction of Crimea. Yesterday, Ukrainian Telegram channels and YouTube channels did report that Zelensky's regime did manage to hit with drones one of the Russian bases on Crimea, but I did not see any confirmation of this information in Russian media, so I cannot say what really happened there. When it comes to Kherson region, it's artillery duels. Zaporozhye region, it's artillery duels. During the night time, Russia did conduct one more drone strike on the military infrastructure of Zelensky's regime, and I believe Russia now is in final push to destroy as much air defense systems of Zelensky's regime as possible, and that's why Russia had become very active when it comes to drone strikes and missile strikes. A few days ago, there were reports on different Telegram channels, on Ukrainian ones, also that during previous missile strikes, Russia used not just proper missiles, let's say, but also kind of fake ones without warhead. And there were some photo evidence of that, and I believe that was done from Russian side to make sure that they are locating air defense systems, and then with second wave they are destroying or trying to destroy air defense systems of Zelensky's regime. So that's why this activization of Russian drone and missile strikes mainly probably are targeting air defense systems, but same time, of course, locations of large locations of manpower and ammunition depots also. And just a few days ago, I did share on my Telegram channel many videos of one of that kind of strikes. It was unbelievable explosion, and some Russian officials, including Vladimir Rogov, official from Zaporozhye region, said that during that strike in that particular area, three Ukrainian brigades lost so much weapons and ammunition that they were just unable to conduct any offensive operation whatsoever. So previous night was not different. There were some drone strikes. We will probably during the day learn more about that, and Russian Defense Ministry will probably provide some information about it. Ukrainian side, of course, as usual, they are saying that they destroyed every drone or almost every drone. It's up to you if you're gonna believe this. When it comes to Zaporozhye region, it's also missile and drone strikes, duels between the sides. Donetsk direction, very active, and yesterday we had reports that Russian side did manage to establish additional positions in Marinka, and they moved significantly forward, but still this settlement is contested between the sides. Yes, majority of Marinka is under Russian control, but Zelensky's regime, forces that are loyal to Zelensky's regime, are still able to hold on to some positions in this settlement. Ugledar, Avdiivka, of course, Avdiivka is also very active, and the Russian side is using glide bombs to take down Ukrainian positions in that city. And as I understand, Ukrainian forces are now even afraid to go to high-rise buildings anymore, because with use of glide bombs, Russian side is able to destroy entire buildings, and Ukrainian units that are trying to hold on to positions in those buildings have no chance to survive. And same is happening in Ugledar, by the way. Same is happening in Ugledar. And Russia, for now, is not conducting offensive operations in the direction of Ugledar, for example, because, as I understand, everyone is waiting now for this anticipated by many Ukrainian counteroffensive, which may never come, at least large-scale counteroffensive. Because, I'm quite sure there will be no large-scale Ukrainian counteroffensive, man. I'm 100% sure about this. Because Zelensky's regime don't have enough manpower, Zelensky's regime don't have enough forces, because according to some open sources, Russia has in this land bridge between Crimea and Russia, and also in Crimea and Donetsk region, or Russian in neighboring region in Rostov, let's say Rostov-na-Donu, over 100 or 150,000 soldiers. So for Ukrainian side to conduct large-scale offensive operation and have some chances to achieve any success, they need at least 2 to 300,000 soldiers. Okay, let's be more conservative. At least 150 to 200,000 soldiers, isn't it? It's not enough, but they should have at least that number of soldiers, and they don't. Zelensky's regime don't have so much manpower in Zaporozhye and Kherson region. That's why I'm saying, because Washington is demanding, almost openly now, demanding from Zelensky's regime to conduct some offensive operations, they will do it. They will conduct some offensive operations in Kherson direction, from Kherson direction, from Zaporozhye direction, but they won't be able to achieve any success, really. They will have some local scale success for first few 3 days before their military grouping will run out of steam because of the Russian defense lines. And once this will happen, then Russian side will just take them out one by one brigade after another brigade. So I believe if Zelensky will order offensive operations in direction of this land bridge, it will be suicidal, not just for Ukrainian brigades that will participate in this operation, but also for Zelensky himself, because they will achieve nothing. And after this failure, Ukrainian armed forces will probably collapse quite fairly soon all along the front line, and Zelensky himself will become unusable anymore for Washington and London, and they will take care of him. I did spoke about this topic quite a few times, so there's no need to repeat myself. Let me continue now. And yesterday afternoon, Russian Defense Ministry, they were meeting in Russian Defense Ministry, and Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu did made statements, quite a few statements about special military operation and how things are going there. And he said that during the previous months, in April, armed forces of Ukraine did lost more than 15,000 soldiers. I did not watch video footage of these statements from Shoigu, but what I read on Russian media outlets, there were no specifications. Shoigu was talking about KIAs, killed in action, or KIA and wounded. So it's hard to tell, but in any case, 15,000 casualties. It's just unbelievable blow for Zelensky's regime, because they already lack manpower. And 15,000 soldiers, it's at least 3 to 4 brigades. So that's news from Russian Defense Ministry. And also, by the way, yesterday was a quite bad day for Ukrainian Air Force, because according to Russian Defense Ministry, Zelensky's regime lost 2 MiG-29 jets and 1 Su-25 attack plane. Of course, I cannot confirm these jets were Polish ones, Slovakian ones, or ones that Zelensky's regime or Ukraine received after Soviet Union collapsed. But I believe it was foreign jets from Poland or Slovakia, because Ukraine already lost probably all its aviation that it has before beginning of special military operation. But anyway, in one day, 2 MiG-29s, 1 Su-25, bad day for Air Force of Ukraine. Let me continue now, and this news is very significant because it's about Ukrainian terrorism once again. And as I said, this topic is becoming part of everyday life, and it will stay this way for a while, unfortunately, and not just for Russia, but as I said yesterday, once Zelensky's regime will fail, Ukrainian Nazis will blame West for their failures, and they will turn their attention in direction of West, and they have plenty of weapons on their hands. And I believe continental Europe will have to deal with Ukrainian terrorism, will be forced to deal with it. And yes, this information is about Ukrainian terror attack once again, this time in Krasnodar region. Oil depot was hit. We don't really have official confirmation that it was a drone strike or sabotage by Ukrainian terrorists, but my guess is that this is the case. For this moment, 1,200 square meters of that fuel depot is under fire, and according to officials, no reports about casualties or deaths. But situation is very serious. And emergency services are doing their best to deal with this fire. Same time, by the way, when it comes to Ukrainian terrorism, yesterday afternoon in 1947 by Moscow time, Ukrainian terrorists did blow up Russian train, and as a result, locomotive and train was basically derailed. This was transport train. It was derailed. Fortunately, no one was killed or wounded. But when I see this information, I was thinking, it's unfortunately we have to deal with this now almost on daily basis. That's how it's gonna go. And one more news, also about Ukrainian terrorism. Zelensky's regime with the terrorists tried to kill high-ranking police officer in Melitopol yesterday, and this information was published on Russian media outlets after I did make my first update. So I did share this many of this news in my second update on Patreon, but I will share it on main channel also, because it does highlights how serious Ukrainian terrorism threat really is. And in Melitopol, they did try to assassinate high-ranking police officer. Officer was wounded as a result of this, but they used explosive material, and it was just a miracle that no civilians were hurt during this terror strike. Let me continue. This is TASS News Agency's report, which is based on publication in Politico, according to which Ukraine now is hiding details about its counteroffensive from US and Western allies that are supplying weapons and money to Zelensky and his henchmen. To be honest, I don't believe this is the case, but these kind of publications in Western media clearly indicates that Western elites more and more actively are preparing ground to distance themselves from inevitable failure of Zelensky's regime with its counteroffensive. And that's why they are publishing these kind of articles, because Washington will have opportunity to say, you know what, they didn't even share with us information, what they were planning, so we could not give them some proper advices and stuff like that. So, probably you do understand what I mean when I said that this is definitely a preparation of the ground from Western elites to distance themselves from Zelensky's regime when time is right, and they will try to minimize damage. This is damage control, really. They will try to minimize damage and minimize questions from Western societies, because if you are sending hundreds of billions of dollars and you are sending so many military equipment that some of the European countries are run out of weapons, man. Some of them run out of air defense systems. Some of them run out of artillery systems and shells for artillery. I mean, they are acting like crazy, really. I mean, elites of the Western countries. And if Zelensky's regime is still losing, then why you are doing this stuff? It's a legit question, isn't it? And I believe many citizens of Western countries will start asking questions and demanding answers. And that's why Western elite is forced to work on damage control with these kind of publications. Because, of course, I mean, we all understand very well that Washington controls not just Zelensky, but Washington and London. They are controlling entire leadership of Ukraine's secret services, Ukraine's military. And who knows who else is working directly for US and UK's intelligence. I mean, entire so-called elite of Ukraine, I guess. So Washington knows very well what Zelensky is planning, when and how. But, anyway, let me continue now. This is RIA Novosti's report, and this information, you may find it, I mean, not that significant, but in my opinion, it is significant because yesterday afternoon, Putin participated in opening of a tramway movement in Mariupol city. We call it tramway. I guess in English it's also tramway. This kind of transport municipal. And why this is significant? Because first of all, Moscow is heavily investing in Mariupol and other towns that have already become under full Russian control. And secondly, if Moscow is investing so much to normalize life in territories that are under Russian control, it probably means that Moscow has enough information, enough intelligence to be confident enough that Zelensky's regime won't be able to achieve any success during this upcoming or anticipated by many counteroffensive. Otherwise, it will make no sense to invest so heavily in areas that may end up on the hands of your opponent's side. So if Russia is investing heavily in Mariupol and in other towns, I guess Moscow has good enough intelligence, and Moscow is confident enough that Zelensky's regime will fail with its counteroffensive. And let me show you Mariupol, by the way. This is the Mariupol, one of the main targets of this counteroffensive, that Ukrainian counteroffensive that everyone is talking about. Some articles even are writing that Zelensky's regime may conduct offensive in direction of Mariupol from Ugledar. But yet again, Moscow is fairly confident that Zelensky's regime will achieve nothing. And that's why they are investing heavily in towns that are located in this land bridge between Crimea and Russia. And not just that, but same time, one more indicator that shows confidence of Moscow is that there are no evacuations of civilians from anywhere, really, on this land bridge. From anywhere. And I will understand if evacuations will take place from some small settlements right next to contact line between the sides. It's even necessary, and probably villages in very close proximity from contact line, they are evacuated, probably. But when it comes to settlements deep inside this land bridge, there is no evacuations from anywhere. Not from Novaya Kakhovka, not from Melitopol, not from Berdyansk, not from anywhere. And in my opinion, this is definitely an indicator that Moscow knows Zelensky's regime will achieve nothing with its counteroffensive. Let's wait and see, man. Let's wait and see. I have a similar take on this topic. because we should always remember, when it comes to Kharkov region, Zelensky's regime did not defeat Russian side in Kharkov, right? It's Russian side's decision. It was a Russian decision to withdraw forces from Kharkov region because, in general stuff, they were probably thinking, I mean, it's not the best time to give a fight in this area, so let's withdraw forces and prepare to fight for a better time. Same happened in Liman. Same happened in Kherson. So Zelensky's regime never really defeated in a battle Russian forces, never. And that's one more indicator for me, because Russian side is not planning to withdraw anywhere or to regroup anywhere from this land bridge. That's one more indicator for me that Zelensky's regime will fail, because they never defeated Russian forces in a battle. That's the truth. Every time the Zelensky regime did establish control over any area, it was after Russian side withdraw its forces, because in Russian military tactic, as I understand, it's okay when you are conducting maneuverable warfare. You are attacking when you feel it's when you think it's necessary, and you are withdrawing from some areas when you think it's not the time to stand and fight there. I'm not military expert, but at least for now it seems like this tactic is working, because this is war of attrition, and Ukraine and Western masters of Zelensky's regime are not winning, definitely, this war of attrition. They already lost, in my opinion. So I am absolutely confident that Zelensky's regime will achieve nothing with the counteroffensive, and it's only a matter of days or weeks now when all of us will see what will happen. So that's why I think this information was important, and I wanted to share with you that Putin did participate in this opening of tramway movement in Mariupol. Sorry. So let me continue now. This is TASS News Agency's report, according to which EU is planning to make weapons making as one of the priorities of European economy, manufacturing of weapons. And yet again, this is not surprising, because, as I understand, Washington and London did provoke this conflict. One of the reasons for them to provoke this conflict was to militarize continental Europe. And they are quite successful in these terms, isn't it? Almost all NATO member states in Europe already made statements that they will increase military spendings. And now we are hearing statements on EU level that they will make manufacturing, military industrial complex, basically, as a priority for EU's economy. And all this stuff is done, in my opinion, not to conduct direct war with Russia, but to prepare NATO member states for war with China. It may seem fantastic from this time that West is preparing for war with China, but in my opinion, that's what they really do. Because when Washington will provoke conflict with China, and they probably want to make sure that their so-called partners through NATO are ready to participate. And right now, European states, with some very few exceptions, not really ready to conduct any large-scale military campaign, really. As I said, some of them even run out of military equipment. They send all they have to Zelensky's Nazi regime. But yet again, it's up to European community, up to European public to act on this kind of crazy behavior of the elites. Do they really want now in this time of economical crisis that is hitting Europe quite strongly, really. Is it the right time to militarize when Russia is not really a threat for Europe, and China is definitely not a threat for Europe? US may want to fight with China, US elites, not US citizens probably, because I don't think ordinary citizens of US want to fight with anybody, really. They want to live in peace and prosperity. That's what everybody wants, really. But when it comes to Europe, I don't know, man. Do European citizens really want to see militarization of their economies? I don't know. Let me continue now. And it's 30 minutes. Okay, I will go through headlines quickly. And this is RIA Novosti's report about statements that Patrushev made, Secretary of Russian Security Council, and according to Nikolai Patrushev, in US, some funds and think tanks are now almost competing with each other to create more and more documents about how to destroy Russia, how to disintegrate Russia. As I understand, these topics are demanded in Washington, and these think tanks are trying to get some money from Washington. That's why they are creating these garbage papers for US elites, for Biden administration, and so on. And according to statements from Patrushev, main directions in those documents to destroy Russia is to support separatist movement and support fifth column inside Russia. Well, I should say that those think tanks and funds should have check with reality, because now it's not 90s. It's 2023 for God's sake, and there is no separatism movement in Russia whatsoever. There is none. And national autonomous republics in Russia very well realizing how beneficial it is for those republics to be part of this great nation, great state, Russian Federation. So if anyone will come out with some crazy ideas to separate from Russia, people gonna laugh at them. So, as I said, it's not 90s, man. It's not era of chaos and destruction. It's very different time, and Russia is very different now. And this topic will definitely not work. When it comes to fifth column, Western elites may probably have some chances to, because of the problem of corruption, they will probably find some individuals to work with, and they may use those individuals for sabotage Russia. But that's why Russia has secret services. And those institutions should work and prevent any kind of destabilization, really. So, as I said, man, Western think tanks, they are really, it's two variants. They are out of touch with reality, or they are just creating some papers. They know Washington wants to see this kind of stuff, so they are just creating paper to get some money. They know it's crap what they are writing there, but if Washington wants to see this, they will create this for Washington, and they will get some millions and millions, and everybody is happy then in US. This so-called elites and the rest of it. So this is RIA Novosti's report. Next news. And Blinken, head of US State Department, spoke about Ukrainian counteroffensive. I don't really understand why head of US State Department had even talking about military stuff and counteroffensive of other countries' militaries. But he said that Ukraine will, in coming weeks, start its counteroffensive. Okay, what else he gonna say, man? As I said, Western elites are already working on damage control, because they are forced, basically, more and more to explain themselves Where is the counteroffensive? Why Zelensky's regime is not achieving anything really? And why then, if there is no results, why US or European states send those tens and hundreds of billions to Zelensky's regime and military equipment? I mean, what is the point? So that's why Blinken probably was asked, where is the results? And he just, said like, it will be, this counteroffensive will take place sometime, like in few weeks, few months, few years. As I said, it's just damage control, man. At this point, Western elites have nothing to say to the public. Let me continue now, and this is also interesting. RIA Novosti is reporting that in Poland, Vice Prime Minister of Poland, Petr Gliński, probably a very mad person in real life, and he did give interview to some media article, Courier Lubelski, and he was criticizing not just opposition in Poland and supporters of opposition. He was almost calling them traitors because they want peace with Russia. They want this conflict in Ukraine to end, and they want between Poland and Russia relationships to become better. So this person, representative of current government of Poland, was very mad at their own citizens that have different opinion. But same time, he went to criticize half of the Europe also, and he said that it's not just in Poland that there are people who want peace, but half of the Europe also wants peace and also wants this conflict to end. And when I was reading this, I was thinking, in what state of mind these idiots in Polish government really are, that they are openly now, without shame, are saying that they are for war, they are for more blood, more destruction, and if anyone is against this, they are calling them traitors. You tell me what kind of, what state of mind, with what state of mind these Polish officials are really, to say such a thing, man. I don't know, man. I don't know. It does showcase how I don't know, man. Polish society should really think who they are supporting, or I don't know. They should deal with this problem, because these guys that are ruling Poland right now, they are crazy, man. Crazy as hell, truly. And they are danger for Poland itself and Polish citizens, truly. Let me continue now, and this is TASS News Agency's report, according to which United Kingdom will not deliver Apache helicopters to Zelensky's regime. Well, I did not expect that Ukraine will receive any Apache helicopters from anywhere, or any Western-made fighter jets, because they don't know how to operate with these military systems. So, not surprises here, but fact itself that this topic was active in UK, in UK's media, shows yet again madness of that is taking place over the Western media outlets and Western elites. I said many times before, man, we will probably see introduction of Western fighter jets and Western helicopters, let's say, to the Ukrainian conflict. But when this will happen, when Poland and maybe a few other countries will openly enter this conflict, the question then will be, and this will happen after Zelensky's regime will collapse and after Ukrainian forces will start to collapse all the way on the front line. But the question is, what will happen then? Will Polish forces stay in the western parts of Ukraine? Polish and other forces of some other NATO members will stay on the western part of Ukraine, and in that case it will be possible to avoid direct confrontation between Russian forces and these NATO members' forces. or Polish forces will move further east. That's the only question, really, because if they will stay in the western part, I believe Moscow will not be very much against that, because I don't think Moscow wants to deal with Lvov and surrounding areas that are full with neo-Nazis, man. Full. Let Poland deal with this, man. Let them deal with this crap that is, infesting western regions of Ukraine. Warsaw don't even know what they are asking for, because they have to deal with Ukrainian Nazis once they will enter western parts of Ukraine, and it's not gonna be easy, right? I will tell them that. So that's the only question. What is remaining, man? Will this Poland and maybe a few other countries, once they will enter this conflict openly, will they stay on the western part, and in that case there will be no conflict between the direct conflict between Russian and their forces, or they will move further east? Because if they will move eastwards, then the Russian side will take care of them. But if they will stay in western parts, and if they introduce their fighter jets to establish some no-fly zone over the western parts of Ukraine, it may work. Because, as I said, Moscow probably are not really keen to have a control over the western parts of Ukraine, because it's not possible to, almost not possible to deal with these neo-Nazis there, man. They are, let Poland deal with it. That's what I think. Let Poland deal with it. So let me continue now, and this is a very interesting news also. Georgia will not participate in NATO's military games, Defender 23. That's quite interesting. Lately, Western elites did become too aggressive towards Georgia, towards Georgia. They are almost not even hiding no more that they won't use Georgia against Russia. And probably this step from Georgia, that they are not participating, is a signal message for the Western elites that, you know what, Georgia truly has a choice here. If you're gonna act crazy towards us, we will just, we will find ways to deal with this situation. And they can, because Georgia fairly soon may receive Russian and Chinese support. Russian, Chinese, Turkish support, Iran's support, and Georgia will be secure. And when it comes to Georgian and Russian relationships, I believe there is opportunity to improve these relationships if Georgia, South Ossetia, and Abkhazia will manage to start negotiations about building a confederation, with the moratorium to leave confederation, let's say, for 15 years plus 10 years, if everyone is agreed. And I believe this will work. Moscow won't be against this kind of development, I believe. So, as I said, this is a very serious topic. It needs much more time, but I believe there is chances to not just rebuild and improve relationships between Tbilisi, Tskhinvali, and Sukhumi, but also between Tbilisi and Moscow. So Georgian government truly has choice here. They don't have to back down before these Western mass murderers and criminals. I mean, Western elites, man. So let me continue. How long is this video? Oh, it's 44 minutes already, so I will finish in a minute. So this is TASS News Agency's report, according to which Israel and leadership of Gaza Strip did achieve agreement about ceasefire. As you know, I did share on my Telegram channel that they were fighting at each other in previous 24 to 48 hours, and they reached some agreement to stop this craziness which is good. And last news for this update will be statements from head of IMF. What is her name, for God's sake? I'm forgetting all the time. Kristina Georgieva said that US dollar truly losing its position as a main reserve currency in this world, because if recently it has US dollar was 70% in world's reserve currencies worldwide, if you take reserves of central banks, then now it's slightly less than 60%. So huge drop, really huge drop. And as I said, man, this is trend, it will continue. And me personally, I don't need some head of IMF to say so. I can analyze information in open sources and come up with exactly the same understanding of situation. Dollar definitely losing its status as a main reserve currency. I don't think it's good for economy, because this transition not gonna be easy for world economy, but it's inevitable because of crazy policy of Biden administration and Western elites in general. So this is it for now. I hope you will find this video interesting, and if so, please hit that like button, leave some commentary about any topic you like, and if you can, please share links to my videos or my channel with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, Telegram, or any other platform that you are active on. That will greatly increase my chances to reach wider audience. And if you think this channel is interesting, useful, deserves to exist in this field of news and political commentary, then please consider to support with small donations through PayPal, buy me a coffee, or by subscribing to my Patreon page. You will see links under this video in the description box. This is it for now. Have a great day and take care.